We are now going to have a panel discussion moderated by Jim Funk, who is the Global Senior Fellow for Leadership at Consulus. And he's going to introduce the panelists. I'm really looking forward to this discussion because it's a million-dollar question. It's, are there new ways to overcome deep divisions? So please welcome Jim Funk and the panelists so we can listen to this interesting topic.
I'm going to stand up here only because I want to leave room here, and I'm only going to say a few words because I really want to hear from the panelists, their wisdom and their experiences. So we'll make this pretty quick so you can get to the next networking break. Well, we learned a lot about dialogue and about that being a really important way to overcome deep divisions, but it's difficult. You know, a dialogue, as we heard from Chiara, you know, requires an abandoned ego. Put yourself in place of the other. It's not a discussion. It's not a negotiation. It's not an attempt to convince. You know what the Latin root of convince is, right? Vincere, conquer. It is not those things. So how do you prepare? How do you form the right mind, the right mindset and attitude for true dialogue? How do you do that? How do people do that? Anyone?
Openness. Be open.
Okay.
Really, I think it's important to really listen,
Microphone.
and not listen to. It's important to listen really, and not listen to counter say something. And this, otherwise you enter a conversation with your thinking and then you exit with the same one. So I think dialogue is also about changing mind in a conversation.
Okay.
So St. Ignatius of Loyola influenced me greatly, and one of his famous sayings is, see God in everything, in everyone. And I think that's the beginning, that you don't see the Muslim, you don't see the atheist, you don't see the Catholic or the Protestant. Yeah, we see God in each other. So I think that's the beginning.
It's just saying that the head of Turkey branch of Tzu Chi, Mr. Hu is a very devoted Muslim for several generations. So Master Zheng Yan saying that in Chinese, religion 大同小异, which means if you can be hard, all religion are equal, are same. But if a small heart, all religion are different. So I think it's not only a dialogue, but Tzu Chi's experience that we have a common ground to do the work together, not only dialogue, but action. So based on, I think, altruism, compassion is all equally to the rooted in different religion. So I think based on common value, we'll be able to understand each other, value each other, cherish each other, and work with each other.
Thank you for that, all of you. And so let's think about some problems that dialogue can solve. What are some ways that dialogue can be put into practice? Or maybe you've got an example from your own lives or experience about a way that dialogue actually did make progress, did begin to bring people together or to solve issues. Anyone? Brian?
I'll give one. One of my board members, his name is Chris Seipel, and he's a former U.S. Marine, and he comes from a family of U.S. Marines. And he did dialogue among some of the most radicalized groups in Pakistan. And the way he began, and I think it's a great way, is he sat down on the other side of the table from the really Islamist, almost not quite terrorist, but very, moving that direction. And he said, I'm an evangelical Christian, I'm white, I'm an American, I'm a Marine, former Marine. That's me. Who are you? And then that guy introduced himself and said, okay, we don't have to agree with each other, but now we can talk. So I think that's, you know, often we think that to overcome divisions that we have to all become the same. And I think it's not becoming the same. It's being ourselves and then fully engaging with the other self who's very different from us. Even, you know, of course, I'm married to my wife and, you know, we're very much alike, but we're still very different. So, you know, I don't try to make her me, or she doesn't try to make me her, but, you know, we communicate our full self across difference.
Thank you. Others?
Well, I agree with the brand that we have to have a self-confidence. You know, each time we feel that people different from us, we're afraid that, am I right? You know, because if he is right and I could be wrong. So I think to respect the difference between different religion and culture, it requires self-confidence. You believe that what you believe, but you respect other people's belief. This is very important.
Others?
Okay, I'll share a personal experience. Some of them have already heard it. Well, my eldest daughter married a Muslim. So we had a Malay wedding. And then my number 2 daughter married a Hindu. Okay, we didn't quite exactly have a Hindu wedding, but we had a guru attend mass with us. So I guess that's family dialogue all the time.
Great. Yes. Anything else?
I think I can remember the story of a colleague of us that used to work in Afghanistan. And UNICEF, as you know, works with government because we believe that governments have the power to make things happen. Whoever is the government, it's the one that you need to talk in a way. And so this colleague was saying that, of course, it was a challenge to talk with the Taliban, but they had to focus on their commonalities. And the end, they found that they had also some children, and by talking about children, they managed to find some commonalities. Then still there are a lot of challenges in Afghanistan. Girls cannot go to school, but still it's important to maintain the dialogue open, because only by maintaining the dialogue open, you can achieve then some change.
Thank you. Good. Well, let's ask another question. And I'd like to get here to the root cause of deep divisions a little bit, because sometimes we go to solve the wrong problem. And so I think the very first thing I learned a long time ago is to identify the problem to be solved first, before you try to come up with action steps to solve the problem. So let me ask the question of the panelists, you know, why are the divisions, the differences so deep right now in the world? And why are people so dug into their point of view that it's sometimes almost impossible to dialogue or to come together? What's behind it? See, they won't go negative with me.
Okay, I'll say one thing. When I was a kid, Richard Nixon was running for president. So that ages me, right? But yeah, I remember going to the bus stop, and you know, our neighborhood had, you know, we didn't want to admit if we're a Republican or Democrat family, but I remember the song, you know, Nixon, Nixon is our man, Humphrey's in the garbage can. Okay, now I remember that, however little I was. But the difference today, you know, that was a few kids singing it. Now it's on YouTube, it's on Instagram, it's on everything. And I think technology, you know, I'm speaking to a crowd that knows this, but that little song now reaches millions, and not just the kid I was with, or billions.
Yes. Others?
Okay. Last year, September the 12th, Pope Francis visited Singapore, or shall we say he came from the 11th to the 13th. But, okay, did I get the dates right? Never mind. On September the 12th, he spoke at Catholic Junior College. Guys, keep me correct, yes. Right, and he's had a dialogue with young people on interreligious dialogue, right? And it was, okay, we will say it was the really, fantastic session. And one of the key things that he told the young people is, not to be afraid. And he talks about that fear. Fear is usually what causes people not to want to have a dialogue, because fear of, like what Dr. He said, could be fear of that I could be wrong, or fear that I don't know enough. Okay, so whatever fear, he says that he told the young people not to be afraid. Second thing that he told the young people is that go outside of your comfort zone. All right, go outside of your comfort zone to dialogue. And that you will be able to see something, you will discover new things. And I guess that's what dialogue is about. And sometimes as adults, we don't want to discover those new things, We prefer to be kept, exactly the way we think, all right? And that's why getting out of the comfort zone sometimes becomes just words, but it actually takes courage, take risks to actually have a dialogue. And especially for the young people and to want to talk about interreligious, you've got to have that kind of a mindset. And, just again, giving a shout out to my friends who are working in this space, all right? You sometimes need other people to help you, right? You sometimes need to learn more about the other person's perspective, or why things are, why do they do things certain ways, all right? And I guess that's the Singapore way, whereby we try to give education, give an opportunity for each other to stand in the other person's shoes. And then, I think it was said a few times by quite a few speakers earlier, respect for all, respect. You've got to start with respecting, regardless of what you're going to hear, that is going to be different.
Thank you.
In 2013, Yolanda typhoon hit Tacloban and Omagh, and Tzu Chi Foundation support the villagers, mobilize 15,000 per day to clean up the city. And we also helped to rebuild the church, the Catholic Church of Tacloban. And in 2004, the tsunami in Indonesia, we built 4 mosques to the Muslim. In Taiwan, 2009, in the typhoon, it's very severe one, Morocco typhoon. We built 6 churches to the Christian villagers, aside from those, Grey Love village. So the Buddhists always, try to integrate and accommodate different religion. That's true. But, I believe that if the Jesus and Buddha and Confucian and Muhammad can meet together, they're all good friends. They share the same value. But the question is we have organization looking for power, resource, so there will be a competition or difference between religions. So that's I also advocate governance with goodness. We got to bring our organization not toward bureaucracy, but really to a vessel of Christ, a vessel of Buddha, the vessel of all kindness and compassion. By that, we can live all together peacefully and harmony. But it's very difficult. But we should try, right?
Yes.
Try.
It is a hope. You should keep hope.
Good theme, hope. Thank you. So I wish we had more time, but I think we really need to prepare for our next networking break. But I'd like to finish up, which is with something that I think was kind of providential. I was visiting a former colleague of mine last month. We worked together in an executive formation program, and he has a severe case of Parkinson's. And so I go and visit him about twice a year, and it's a 250-mile trip over there. But it's really important for me to keep that relationship with him. And so last month when I was there, he handed me this book. I was picking him up in his house to go to breakfast, and it was called The Hill We Climb. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. He said, take a look at this. And it's by Amanda Gorman, who is an American poet and activist, 27 years old. And she called this book an inaugural poem for the country. Now, I think it could apply to any country, and it really does. But I was moved by it, and I thought it's a perfect way to conclude this particular session and topic. So I'll read it to you. It's fairly short. The hill we climb. To compose a country committed to all cultures, colors, characters, and conditions of man. And so we lift our gazes not to what stands between us, but to what stands before us. We close the divide because we know to put our future first, we must first put our differences aside. We lay down our arms so that we can reach our arms out to one another. We seek harm to none and harmony for all. Thank you very much. Thank you, panel. And we'll now take a break.
Right, I would like to invite the photographers for a quick photo of our beautiful panel.